From a surprise cameo in the year's biggest superhero movie, to a totally bonkers, surreal reality-shifting moment, and a handful of shocking endings that nobody saw coming. These twists were by far the most ingenious and brilliantly executed of the entire year. Needless to say, if 2025 is gonna live up to the most wild, left-field twists we all got served over the past year, it's gonna need to get really out there. So I am Gareth, this is What Culture, and here are the 10 best movie plot twists of 2024. Number 10, Chris Evans is the Human Torch, not Captain America. Deadpool and Wolverine. We all knew that Deadpool and Wolverine was going to have a bevy of cameos. But did anyone expect things to go quite like this? Chris Evans shows up fairly early on in the movie, appearing as an unnamed character in the void who crosses paths with Deadpool and Wolverine. Though we're initially led to assume he's a variant of Captain America, I was so excited. It is in fact revealed moments later that he's a variant of Johnny Storm, aka the Human Torch, the very same character Evans played in Fox's original Fantastic Four movies in the mid-2000s. Remember those? Of course you do. It's tremendous fun not only seeing Evans gamely return to the cocksure superhero he played years before he became an icon in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but also hearing him do something that Cap never would: be extremely foul-mouthed. And if this isn't all wild enough, Johnny then meets a brutal fate when Cassandra Nova rips his skin from his body for allegedly insulting her. Nice. Quick question for you, what has been your favourite MCU cameo over the years? Was it the return of Johnny Storm or something else? You let me know in the comments right down below. Number 9, Jackie becomes a giant. Love Lies Bleeding. Rose Glass wild neo-noir Love Lies Bleeding takes one hell of a swing in its climax, just as Lou is assaulted by her deranged criminal father, Lou Sr. At this point, Lou's steroid-happy bodybuilder girlfriend, Jackie, interjects. More to the point, Jackie's steroid abuse has turned her into a literal giant, allowing her to grab Lou Sr. like he's a Ken doll, pin him down, and keep Lou safe. Though it's only a brief sequence before Jackie turns back to regular size and the audience is left to marinate on the precise reality of what they've just witnessed, it nevertheless comes totally out of nowhere. It's certainly not a new trick for director Glass, whose previous film Saint Maud similarly toyed with a subjective point of view. Sure, it may not be a twist that works for everyone, but if you were already fully on board with the movie at this point, you were probably willing to go with it. Number 8, Derek Danforth is the president's son, the Beekeeper. Who in their right mind expected a Jason Statham starring John Wick knockoff released in the dump month of January to have one of the most ludicrously unexpected plot twists of the entire year? I know I didn't. Throughout the surprisingly entertaining The Beekeeper, our steely hero Adam Clay faces off against a tech bro mega douche by the name of Derek Danforth, who has been operating illegal phishing scams to fleece regular folk out of their hard-earned cash, and worse. It's revealed late in the film, however, that Derek is actually the son of the President of the United States, Jessica Danforth. This connection was totally concealed by the movie's marketing, and ends up feeling like a legitimate surprise while not being ridiculous merely for its own sake. And knowing that the Stath is taking on the President's a-hole of a nepo baby son just makes the climax that much more entertaining. What a buzz. Number 7, Jack sacrificed his wife for fame. Late Night with the Devil. Late Night with the Devil revolves around Jack Delroy, the host of a flailing late-night talk show who attempts to boost the show's ratings by inviting an apparently possessed girl called Lily to appear. Early scenes also establish that Jack is still grieving the recent loss of his wife Madeline to cancer. But in the film's final moments, we learn that Jack previously made a pact with the devil, sacrificing the soul of his wife for fame and the success of his TV show, effectively causing her cancer. And because that's not shockingly bleak enough, the final moments reveal that Jack has inadvertently stabbed Lily to death on live television as the police closes in on the studio. Just when you thought Hollywood finally let David Dastmalchian play a character who wasn't a total creep, the brutal final rug pull made it clear that wasn't the case. So close. Number 6, Ruth Was Longlegs' apprentice, Longlegs. It's a genuine surprise when the titular villain of Osgood Perkins' moody horror film actually kills himself about 20 minutes before the end, smashing his face repeatedly into the desk in an interrogation room until he's no more. At this point, FBI agent Lee Harker witnesses her mother, Ruth, murder a fellow FBI agent, confirming Longlegs' implication that she has been an accomplice to his many murders. We then learn that when Lee was a child, Longlegs offered Ruth an ultimatum: either assist him in his killings or give up her daughter's life, and she evidently chose the former. Just being a good mum, I guess? Longlegs would create satanic dolls and give them to Ruth to bring to families under the guise of a gift from the church, only for them to actually induce the patriarch of each family to commit familicide. To call this revelation unexpected is quite the understatement, but it certainly presented Alicia Witt with the opportunity to give one hell of a performance in the film's final stretch. If you're enjoying this list today, my friend, then hit that subscribe button down below and you'll get more of these fantastic What Culture videos in your day. A day well spent, in my opinion. And here's to many more. Number 5, Chad dies in the future. My old ass. New sci-fi comedy My Old Ass revolves around Elliot, a teenage girl who goes on a drug trip and encounters a 39-year-old version of herself. Older Elliot insists that she stay away from her romantic interest, Chad, who we as the audience are led to believe is going to do something that just might explain older Elliot's struggles with getting through life. But the big climactic twist? Chad isn't a bad dude who mistreated or even abused Elliot, but he dies young and there's no way for him to be saved. Older Elliot wants to spare her younger self the pain of living through that grief, and so has been doing everything in her power to steer her elsewhere. Ultimately, though, Elliot decides to embark on a romance with Chad despite her knowledge of his untimely future death, seemingly surmising that the years of joy will be worth the tragic conclusion. Number 4, The Lady is the Killer, Strange Darling. Strange Darling is absolutely a film you'll want to watch as blindly as possible, because the moment anyone tells you that there is a twist, you'll probably be able to figure it out, as well executed as it is. So yeah, you've been warned, even though I've already kind of said it. Ah, damn it. J.T. Molnar's electrifying thriller initially appears to be about a young woman credited merely as the Lady who is on the run from a psychotic man, referred to only as the Demon. But midway through the movie, we learn the truth. The Lady is in fact a serial killer known as the Electric Lady, and the so-called Demon is not merely her latest intended victim, but a police officer. Wonderful. It's a brilliant script-flipping moment that clearly relishes toying with our preconceptions of gender, even if Molnar doesn't quite stick the landing all the way to the end. All the same, if you're not already clued into there being a rug pull moment, the protagonist-antagonist switcheroo makes for one hell of a twist. Number 3, it was Annette all along, Magpie. The devilishly clever and criminally underseen thriller Magpie stars Daisy Ridley as Annette, a wife and mother whose daughter is cast to star in a film alongside a beautiful actress called Alicia, who Annette's dissatisfied husband Ben swiftly falls in love with. Throughout the bulk of the film, we're led to believe that Alicia is reciprocal to Ben's romantic advances, evidenced by their sexually charged text messages and videos. However, the ending reveals that once Annette found out that Ben and Alicia had exchanged numbers, she took Ben's phone and changed Alicia's number to her own, making Ben think he was texting Alicia when it was actually her all along. Furthermore, Annette even sent a fake striptease video while wearing a wig and posing as Alicia. That is commitment. The entire relationship was vengefully faked by Annette, and just as Ben realizes this, he crashes his car, which promptly sets on fire, suggesting he most likely burns to death. Look, there's revenge, and then there's whatever this savagely twisted scheme was. Number 2, Madison and Gary kill Jasper, Hitman. Richard Linklater's terrifically entertaining black comedy Hitman ended in a much darker manner than just about anyone expected. In the finale, undercover cop Jasper tries to blackmail Madison for the life insurance money of her abusive husband she killed. But in the first bleak turn, Jasper suddenly passes out, having been drugged by Madison. Just as we wonder how Madison's lover, Gary, who poses as an assassin for the cops but has never actually murdered anyone, will react, he grabs a plastic bag and finishes the job, suffocating Jasper to death and making it look like a suicide. From here, Gary and Madison start getting amorous as Jasper expires. Before we shift forward a number of years to the pair living a happy life with a couple of kids. Given the crowd-pleasing nature of Linklater's movie up to this point, it was genuinely unexpected to see it arrive at such a caustic and dark ending, where Gary has fully assumed the Hitman persona into his real personality, all while he and Madison totally get away with killing a cop, and they all lived happily ever after. Yay. Number 1, the new pope is Intersex Conclave. The deliciously entertaining mystery thriller Conclave concludes with a deeply amusing plot twist, albeit one that's certainly proven polarizing in some quarters. The film ends with Cardinal Benitez being elected as the new pope after a painfully prolonged balloting process, at which point the audience is left waiting for the other shoe to drop. There are a few obvious reveals that viewers are led to anticipate here, namely that Benitez is in fact an imposter, as is briefly discussed early on, and has managed to worm his way into the papacy through subterfuge. But that's not it. In a fantastic final reveal, we learn that the newly elected Pope Innocent XIV is intersex, having been assigned male at birth, but also learning recently that he has a uterus and ovaries. This was concealed by the recently deceased Pope, who is implied to have plotted Benitez's rise to power, while Benitez surmises with a brilliant closing line to Cardinal Lawrence, "I am as God made me." Now, it's not a twist that worked for everyone, but it was nevertheless a brilliantly clever and provocative cherry on top of one of the year's most absorbing movies.